today's video, we're going to show you how to change the oil on a Scag Turf Tiger. This is a 2012 model, but it'll be very similar to most of the Scag Turf Tigers or even the Turf Tiger 2s. Let's get over to the bench and see what tools we're going to need. All right, so we have a Vanguard motor on this Scag Turf Tiger. It was a new motor that was installed on it prior to me getting it. So we ended up going with the Vanguard 15W50 synthetic, full synthetic oil. We have a 5-pack of oil filter. Here is the part number for the oil filter for the Vanguard 35 horsepower. This is the Briggs & Stratton OEM oil filter. So there's the part number, but I'll leave a link in the description to this 5-pack that you can get on Amazon. It was a little bit cheaper to get a bunch of them, and we're going to use them anyway. So we have those. We have this oil filter cap, I should say, or wrench, or whatever you want to call it. It's 14 flutes is what it says, and it's 75.6 millimeter. This fit perfectly on there, so we got that from Advanced Auto Parts. Here is the oil filter wrench. I think there was a part number there, or it might be one of those two, but as long as it says the 14 flutes and 75.6 millimeter, then that should work perfectly. Usually you'll be using a 10 millimeter wrench to take off the oil drain part, but on my particular motor, they didn't install something, so I'm gonna have a 16 millimeter wrench I'll have to be using. So we'll get into that. Obviously, an extension for this. And that'll basically be it. So we have our extension, of course, like something for the oil, some rags just to end up checking the oil dry for this, so we could just snug this up. You can usually do it by hand, but let's get over to the mower now. We can kind of see where things are. All right, so here we are towards the back of the mower. We have our engine oil filter, you can see is right there. We're gonna take off this wire just because it is in the way. That simply pulls off, move it to the side. We have our oil filter right here. We'll use that tool that will fit right on there. Take that out. We will put some tin foil or something just to cover up some of this. There's a line under here, and it gets a little messy. So we're gonna cover this up best as we could. You can actually take off this cover to get some easier access down there, but we first gotta get this off. So we'll take this off, it's gonna drain, and then we'll show you where the drain plug is. It's literally directly underneath here. So the oil filter is off, and the drain bolt is literally right there where my finger is pointing. Usually Scag, when they install these motors, they put a different valve thing, so it has like a little 10 millimeter nut on the bottom that you could take off, but apparently the shop that had this one did not end up putting that on there for whatever reason. I don't know if there wasn't enough space. It really should have been on there, and it should have fit, but I have the standard bolt. So if you do have the standard bolt, which I said is right there where my middle finger is pointing, down in there, that was a 16 millimeter, just so you know. And when you're tightening this back up, if you have that one, I believe it is 20 Newton meters for that bolt, give or take. But now, like I said, we're gonna drain the oil. We'll take off that bolt. We're gonna put some tin foil there, as you can see, and some more to cover the stuff up, and just let it drain for a while. We'll let that drain. We'll end up putting the bolt back in. We'll get our new oil filter. We'll use the ring over here. We will coat this with oil. This is the old one, but I'm just using it as reference. We'll put it back on the machine, and then we'll snug it up with this. Doesn't really have to be super tight. Usually you could just do it by hand, but I had to get this tool to get this one off. So the oil's all drained. Checking it out after the 10 hours, it was really not that bad. Obviously the first 10 hours you gotta change it out with a new engine. So now we have our new oil filter right here. There's an old one. I'm gonna end up putting oil all along this ring, soak that up pretty good. I'll probably put a tiny bit in there, and then we'll put that back onto the block. You could take off this cover for this fan, just to make it a little easier to see what's going on in there. So let me go put this on, and then we'll put our cover back on, and then we'll start filling up with oil. All right, so we got the new oil filter installed. We put our wire back into place. We have our cover back on. We made sure our engine bolt is torqued. You could usually use a socket and a swivel, and depending on how the fan is, you should be able to reach it and torque it to spec. But usually, 20 Newton meters is really not that many pounds, so you could usually do it by hand, but obviously make sure you do not over torque it and strip that engine bolt, which is down there. Like I said, on the other one, I'll kind of show you what it should kind of look like for that piece. Let me get over there real quick. So you can kind of see on this one how it has that thing right there, and on the bottom of it, there's like a 10mm nut that you can loosen. You have to be pretty gentle with these things because they can strip, but it does make the oil change a lot easier. You can see there's a lot more room on this model, so it is what it is, but just to give you a general idea. Now we'll end up putting oil into our machine. So just in case you didn't know, here's our oil level reading stick, and this is where you put the oil. We're gonna take this off, we'll use funnel, and we'll probably put a quart in at first. I believe it's a little bit over 2 quarts, but I'm definitely gonna do 1 quart, and then I'll keep adding small amounts and keep checking, and I'll kind of let you know where I was at with the oil filter change. All right, so we put a little over 2 quarts in here. Obviously, it's always best to, do like a quart and check it and keep going like that slowly but surely. But we did check the dipstick. If I can get this out with one hand. And it is, if we can focus, it is right where it needs to be. It's kind of hard to see it, but either way, I made sure that it was right on the X's. So I'm gonna start the machine up now and just run it for a minute, and then I'll let it stop and sit for probably like half hour just to make sure that all the oil goes down and we get a true accurate reading. So I waited a half hour after running it just to let the engine oil fully get down as far as it could. And obviously, since you installed the new oil filter, it did take away a little bit on the dipstick. So now we're just gonna put a little bit more in there and then check it again in probably like 5 minutes to see where it is. It was at the top of the X's, and now it's obviously below that. So we're gonna put a little bit more to get it to the correct level. All right, so we verified that the oil level is correct now. We made sure there's no leaks. So we are basically all set. So a little tip on the other mower, like I showed you, where you end up having that 10mm nut, you don't take it off completely. You just loosen it enough so that the oil starts to come out, and then you let it completely drain. And after it's done, you just snug it back up. If you end up tightening it too much, it could potentially mess up the O-ring and you're gonna have leaks. So just keep that in mind. You don't fully take it off. You take it off just enough so that it starts letting the oil out, and then you snug it back up. But hopefully this video was helpful, guys. In the description, like I said, I'll have that 5-pack of Briggs & Stratton OEM oil filter on Amazon if you want to get it. That'll be right there. And I'll leave a link for the gallon jug that I got as well. And that's it, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one.